But yeah, as it stands right now, at least in the LCK, it feels like, unless Hanwha can overcome Gen G in literally the last match of the season. I mean, the last match of the season is going to be very hype because if Gen G is playing for the perfect like split, it's going to be fucking incredible to have that be the last game, especially if Hanwha is still number 2, which they absolutely should be given their strength of schedule. They literally just play bums from here on out. This is their bum week of Breon and DRX, the 2 worst teams in the league who are mathematically eliminated from playoffs. So they should absolutely lock up the number 2 seed this week. And then the middle of the pack just goes between BNK, FearX, Kwangdong, and KT is just going to be a bloodbath, for the next week and a half or so. So pretty exciting times. It's rare, I think, to have a field this competitive on the cusp of playoffs this deep into an LCK season. Usually it's super boring and everybody's kind of locked up at this point in time, but this is very exciting end of the season in the mid-table.
There's also a detail people don't mention when they talk about the undefeated season. Bro, look at the games.
Yeah, they're 30-1. They only lost 1 game to D+. Yep.
That's insane. 30. Guys, remember the whole premise of BO3 is you experiment, you try something different.
They have a 97% win rate.
Like this actually for real could just be the best split any team's ever played in the history of the game.
Yep.
It's totally plausible.
Yeah. I mean, BLG has been on, I think they went, 30-5.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah. I mean, it could be even better for LCK. So, and for Gen G. I mean, it is really remarkable. Like, I think people should take a moment and appreciate the greatness of this current iteration of Gen G, because they will absolutely, barring any kind of disaster, be heading into the World Championship as like massive favorites.
Here's the problem. Are you ready for a downside to what Gen G is doing? Bro, Riot broadcasts are never going to get out of 2014 esports. They're never going to be actual esports things that have narratives and features. Where is the Grand Slam tracker? Where is the perfect season tracker? Where are you telling us all the time about 30-20 get? Bro, LOL Esports, like, you might get a video every 3 months, like, Chovy doing some highlight plays. This should be the #1 story. Bro, think of when the Patriots did that undefeated season. It was all over media. I even remember reading a fucking article. I didn't even follow American football back then, Monty, of like how this team had like the best offense and the best defense and they're going undefeated. No, and it had only been done by the Dolphins. Bro, this should be the #1 narrative, is this whole thing of is because this is why the Faker story sucks. You're all like it's WWE waiting for Hulk Hogan to get the championship again. This might be the greatest player ever in Chovy in his prime doing the most impossible shit ever, but you're still too busy, like the fucking Getty Images stock thing of that man, like looking back at that girl. Like, you're looking back at Faker, you got prime Chovy on your shoulder. What are you talking about? Why is this not the #1 thing on all the broadcasts? I'd have so many featurettes.
This is the problem, Thorin, is that all of the broadcasts are technically in competition with each other for these viewers. You know what I mean? Or they view themselves this way. They're not part of some glorious whole. They are literally not wanting to do promotion for other leagues or other teams at any point in time. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous that people aren't talking about this. Like, the Golden Road is still walkable, right? It's not only walkable, it's looking like really the only hurdle is going to be the World Championship, because it doesn't seem like anybody's going to beat Gen G in LCK Summer, right? So they're going to be in the JDG situation where they're like that 1 win away from the Golden Road. And that should be the entire narrative. And you know what? If it was T1, it absolutely would be. And it's not even like Gen G is a random team. Gen G is a very well publicized team that has a big media presence, both in Korea, has a huge fan base in Korea, is very well publicized and very well known in the West. So there's not really a reason why this shouldn't be the #1 story. This shouldn't really, like, why isn't LoL Esports promoting this? Is a great point. Where is it? Where is the video on the LoL Esports channel? Why isn't this the thing that everybody's talking about? It's crazy. It's super crazy.
And if you do that well, by the way, if it ends up coming off, like, even if it doesn't, you get all the views now because everyone's hyped and they're all waiting, they're all watching, there's a tracker. If it ever comes off, it'd also be amazing content to have in history to go back to. Wouldn't it be so dope to go and see those things, showing the story and how it happened? That would be amazing to watch, mate.
And by the way, like, you can trash Overwatch League as much as you want, but I promise you that they were much better at publicizing the Shanghai Dragons loss streak, their 0-42.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was everybody in any esport knew about that, guys. Everybody knew about that. Everybody knew about the Shanghai Dragons loss streak. Everybody. And how come? I bet you nobody in Counter-Strike who doesn't actively pay attention to League of Legends has any idea what is going on with Gen G right now.
Zero.
When that should be absolutely what everybody in esports is talking about.
Do you want to know what the absolute worst thing is? When Faker won that PC Player of the Year award, there were Counter-Strike people who barely know League who were like, bro, calm down, he's the GOAT. Of course he did. Of course he's the winner. Because they still think it's about Faker because of you fucking fans. You stupid idiots. Where the guy has won one international tournament in like the last 6 fucking years. Because of you, they still think like an idiot who goes, oh my God, it's Brady's still the best player. Even though he's never getting the MVP. That never sort of dawns on you in your brain where the MVP is if he's the best. Where's the All-Pro every season? It never dawned on you. So as a result, you're right. A player who transcends esports now has been allowed to suppress the real storylines. Like you do. Here's another thing, because of the Faker winning PC Player of the Year, they don't even know that a Chinese team almost did the Grand Slam. I always said this, Monty, it wouldn't have just been crazy that they were the first team to do the Grand Slam. They were a fucking Chinese team with a Chinese middle. Do you know how bonkers that would be in league history for that to be the Grand Slam team? Like like if we go back in the time machine, that's impossible when we're watching OGN champions, Monty. That isn't even considered. Like I said in my article, Faker won a lot of his titles in an era when, unironically, jungle and mid were considered a joke in China. Like you can't, if I ask you guys now, start naming mid laners from Chinese League of Legends, not Koreans, from the like 2020, you're going to have a hard fucking time. You're going to just be listing people like, I think Cool was so good. I mean, the joke is Xiaohu's the mega one, but you all ignore him. The Xiaohu, like, you'd struggle after that. You will struggle after that. You will have a hard time coming with those names. Like, Yagao, that ain't it. You know what I mean? That ain't it.
But yeah, I mean, look at it is very weird because everybody should be talking. There should be pieces that are published everywhere about the upcoming playoffs, because the upcoming playoffs is the next step of the golden road. Like, we should be having the Gen G videos out there. We should be having the Gen G hype. It should be about, here's the undefeated season. Like, where I hope that there's some sort of celebration about this actually happening and that it's publicized. It won't be though, Thorin, because at the end of the day, Riot doesn't give a shit about this. And that's the truth. This is why what I say is so true, guys, about the fact that Riot is a company that cares about microtransactions in their game. They do not care about creating a compelling sports entertainment product. OGN
They're basically
was fucking great at
gacha
this.
games company, Monty. They're just basically the original gacha game.
Yes.
That's all they are.
Like, I was so depressed, Thorin, when I saw the announcement that the new season of Arcane was going to come out in November, because I just said to myself, well, shit, now I have to spend all worlds watching Arcane ads instead of actually listening to the stories or history of the players and the teams. Because that's what we're going to get now. It's just going to be one giant shit-ass Arcane ad. And look, I think Arcane was good. It's not about the quality of Arcane. It's that now everything is just a vehicle for Riot's shitty intellectual property and the microtransactions that they want to push on you. And like, it's very different. And they have let the product of League of Legends esports be completely terrible as a result of this.
Monty, this is how whack League of Legends run by Riot Games is, which I've always told you is a kid with a Ferrari can barely beat the Ford Fiesta in a drag race on the street, right? Because you're just shit at driving. Here's the analogy. I'm going to do it as a little skit, right? If I ask fans outside of League of Legends, or even just modern day fans, like, tell me about the Rocks Tigers. By the way, probably a top 5 team to ever play League of Legends. They'd be like, I mean, did they win? I don't think they did. Did they even win? And I think they had an LCK. Meanwhile, if I ask them, like, what about this? Legends never die. They just go and go. And then same thing, right? If I go, do you know this JDG team with a Chinese mid laner almost won the Grand Slam? They're like, did they win World Store? I wasn't really following. Race. Those shit music tracks are more famous than anything in the fucking game anyone ever did. And it's the biggest esport of all time. You fucking bozos.
It's all right. Now we can just talk about Jinx from Arcane, right? I mean, they did just horribly abuse that MSI before Arcane came out, and they made the entire like opening ceremony to the MSI finals just be like, fucking what? Imagine Dragons Arcane. It's terrible, man. Like,
anyway, I'll never get over that piece of PR that Imagine Dragons did, which was so fucking gross. Right, I'll at least give it to the shit hobbits out of Lord of the Rings that did they actually seemed like they did play a bit of League, Monty. You know when Imagine Dragons did that thing where the interview was like the worst PR story ever? It was like, sometimes we'll be about to go on stage and I'll be like, let me just finish this last game. There's no way. There's no way that's true. If it is, by the way, you are the shittest rock stars of all time.
I mean,
you have to understand.
They're Mormons, dude. They're not drinking before the show.
When the normal rock star can't make it to the stage, that's because he's just injected black tar heroin in the vein under his dick.
Yeah, but they're Mormons, so they're Mormons, so they probably are playing league.
That's a lie. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. In fact, I even saw a thing the other day, Monty, a random thing I'll just bring up now, which is an example of why I actually don't want game devs to have too much power. There was a tweet I saw, right? And you'll know the premise as soon as I explain it. The actual company who makes Uno cards had the audacity to tweet, you can't put a +2 on a +2. And obviously everyone mocked them because we don't play your rules, Uno guy. We all do that. They're the house rules. Everyone puts the whole point of Uno is to stack the +2s and wreck everyone in it. But their whole thing's like, no. Even though I made the game so you could do that, you're not allowed to. That's Riot Games. In the same way as, famously, everyone in the world plays Monopoly wrong. We all play it where you land and you go, well, I don't want to buy it. The way Monopoly rules say is every time you don't buy it, it becomes an auction and everyone else can buy that. Mm-hmm. You're all just going, what? That was the way Monopoly was designed from the beginning. And the point of the game, if you don't know, is it's supposed to end really fast and show you how bad Monopolies are. But we all designed rules that make the game super long and really fun, and there's a lot of chances in there. So essentially, I like games that are open and we decide what to do with it. I don't like Riot, like, I don't like you playing the game that way. Play it this way. It's like, who the fuck are you? You just made the pen. You can't tell me what to write with it. You mad cunt. What are you talking about? Because, by the way, the response, which was in the meme folder, I think I saw if you can't put the +2, was a guy just replied to the tweet and he goes, we've got the cards now. We'll take it from here. Which is actually like the best response, isn't it? That is what the response should be. How do you know what we're supposed to? But anyway, to come back to the original thing, I do think it is mad that think about this, Monty. I actually think more people will remember that augmented reality Game of Thrones dragon than will remember some of the greatest teams to ever play the game. What is this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't even use any opportunities. Like, sure, it's always hard to tell who's producing the events in China because, like, I don't know if Tencent is like, or Riot China is like taking over those. But and part of it was the pandemic as well. But when they had like the 10-year World's anniversary in China, and they did hardly anything. Like, if you just compare, guys, if you compare what Riot Korea did, which was a bunch of old OGN producers with the 10-year anniversary of LCK, bringing back all the legendary players on stage, having that super baller opening ceremony. And then what they did for the 10th anniversary of Worlds, like, it's fucking pathetic, what Riot does. And they're so much more interested in having like a janky augmented reality, like K-pop star Ari shake her digital ass on screen than they are about talking about anything about their esport whatsoever. It fucking sucks.
And also, you probably spend like $1 million making that, and then the next year you're like, we're gonna have to cut back LCS. Like, oh, fucking hell, what are you doing? What are you doing? I would have given up the augmented shit. How about spend money on reality, not augmented reality? I don't seem like an essentialist to like bio-reality, bio-organic.
It actually turns out that, Riot, you already have all of the clips recorded of the plays being made, the trophies being raised, the interviews you've already taken that we could probably turn into very cool teasers or other pieces, but we don't get that, of course. And now it's just going to be the Arcane shit is going to be insufferable this Worlds, guys, because they've lined it up perfectly. So it's just like it ends, Worlds ends the first weekend of November. Here's Arcane, so there's going to be nothing but Arcane garbage in the opening for the Worlds final. Shift.
Just prepare for the Arcane shift. Right. There you go. There you go. That's it.
So hold on to your butts for that one. It's going to be a miserable time if you actually care about teams and esports. If you care about Jinx from Arcane, you'll love it.
As a random aside, I will say though, that's where I have to say, every now and then in life, if you're actually good friends with someone, you have to turn to them sometimes and go, you've changed. The one thing that Richard Lewis ever said that did make me look down on him a little bit is, even though he hates League, the game, he prefers Dota, he hates Riot, he said he watched Arcane and he likes it. And I was like,
it's good. It is
I mean,
actually good.
Unless I'm trapped on a plane with nothing else to watch, I will never need to press play on an episode of a cartoon about League of Legends. There are too many movies I haven't watched. There are too many fucking foreign languages. There are too many books I haven't read. There are too many thoughts I haven't had. I will never need to click play and go, this is pretty good in it for me. That ain't good enough. I'm going for 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you sound like me. One time Doa was trying to convince me to watch the live action Sonic movies. And I told Doa, I have too much else to do with my life. And if I happen to die, I'm not going to die with the last thing I have watched being the Sonic movie. I told him that.
Like, here's the difference. If I died and I actually never got to like certain like foreign language films I haven't gone through on certain like, you know, Korean directors and stuff, I would sort of feel like, I wish I could have seen that. I'm never at the end going to go, son, don't be like me. Make sure you watch all of our It's never going to happen, is it? I'm not going to give a fuck at that point. Like, I know.
It is true. I do think Arcane is pretty good, but I also think it's been mad overrated. It gets the anime fan treatment where it's like every anime fan's like, you gotta watch this, it's the best shit ever. It's not.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I've said it a million times. If you've watched Arcane, but you haven't watched Legend of the Galactic Heroes, shut the fuck up and don't ever talk to me. It's even anime, you cunt. Don't ever talk to me if you haven't watched it. Don't ever talk to me because any second now. You know why the worst thing is about anime as well? Anime is actually one of the few things that for some reason they never clamp down on the copyright shit. Let's just say it's very easy to find anywhere from any PC for free. It's not even something where you have to like, you know how certain things. It's the easiest shit of all time. You can watch it right the second this show ends. You can all watch an episode, but you won't. But then you'll turn around and have the gall to go to me. No, Thorin, give Hunter x Hunter a try. Fuck you, bro. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, I won't give it a try. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.